Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to our meeting this evening. I'm going to hand over to Todd Sissel, our city engineer.
Hello, everyone. Right now, I might be a familiar face for some of you. I was here Tuesday night as well. This is the Planning Commission meeting. So this is not a city council meeting. This is a recommending body of volunteers that work on planning out the city, and we see this as an opportunity to show several people here what we do every second Thursday of the month. So I want to start off. Normally we have, when we're at City Hall, we have name tags so that you can tell who we are, and it humanizes us. So I'm going to ask the panel to go down, start over here, and then work our way around and introduce themselves. And if they're comfortable, you could say the subdivision you live in, or a major street nearby, just to tell everybody who everybody is. So, and practice using our microphones, because we're not professionals up here with microphones.
Hi, I'm Andrea. I am the building and zoning clerk, and I live around the Avalon area.
Danielle Bode.
Rachel Leibarger, and I live behind the Taylor Lake subdivision.
Hi, I'm Liz Compton, and I live in the Northwood subdivision.
Matt Ryder is the Northwood subdivision.
Mike Neerman, I live on Kirsch Road, Burkhead Estate.
Shane McBride, and I live in Indian Meadows.
Eric Patton, and I live off of Franklin Avenue.
Rich Curtis, I live in Northwoods also. You guys are all really brief. Been living in the city for about 35 plus years. I think I know it pretty well.
Tom Sissel, city engineer. I live in the Creekside subdivision. So, just kind of wanted to give everybody an idea of who we are. And then I'm going to kind of go through a little bit about the program. First, again, we're really happy to see you here. We think we do some really interesting things. So we're happy to show that off tonight. The first thing we're going to do is we are going to hear a planned development overlay petition for a 10-lot subdivision in near Hampton Glen on Troy O'Fallon Road. After that hearing, which starts here in a minute, we are going to have our regular meeting. So during the hearing, we're considering a new residential development, again, off Troy O'Fallon Road. This is a development we're excited to work through because it incorporates two of our newly amended ordinances that we've been working really hard on. Yeah, that would have been interesting. These two developments or ordinances that we've been working on is the planned development overlay. So it's a new ordinance that we've adopted, and our density bonus ordinance. So you'll hear a little bit more about that if you're interested in the hearing part. Comments will be gladly taken during the public comment section of the hearing, as long as they're relevant to the hearing topic first. And if you're here for the data center to talk, that part will be during our regular meeting. So there will be an opportunity, but we have to first get through our business of it. That makes sense. So the Planning Commission will give you time to speak later, and they're excited to do that, and our chairman will take over from here. Thank you. this back down.
Okay, let's begin the meeting with a roll call, please. Andrea?
Danielle Vogt,
Here.
Liz Compton,
Here.
Rich Curtis,
Here.
Rachel Linebarger. Here. Shane McBride,
Here.
Mike Ehrman,
Here.
Eric Patton,
Here.
Matt Ryder,
Here.
and Jamie Stone is not with us this evening.
Okay, thank you, Andrea. Okay, so before us tonight is a presentation of a discussion of Hampton Glen Villas. It's a proposed 3.7 acre planned development consisting of single-family villas located at 1458 Troy O'Fallon Road. Let's open with some comments from the city engineer, please.
Okay, I have a presentation ready to load and show on the screen. Hope everybody can follow. Procedure, next slide, please. The purpose of this hearing is to decide on issuing a plan development overlay on a remnant parcel adjacent to Hampton Glen subdivision at Country Lane and Troy Road. This, to do a plan development overlay, it must comply with the city's objectives, which we're going to go over. Our plan development, and I may call it PD, but plan development for short. It says in that ordinance that if we're going to use this tool which we have to our disposal, you use it when there's a need to deviate from the regular guidelines of the underlying zoning district. Things that might deviate from typical zoning, density, area requirements, and things like that. The applicant must present their petition to the planning commission for those special circumstances that inhibit the development from strictly meeting these guidelines, and they must present what will differ from our normal criteria. Your four options today at the end of this hearing are to recommend, because this is a recommending body, everyone, the city council then has to vote to ratify or confirm their decision either way. You can recommend approval. You can recommend approval with conditions. You can recommend denial, or you can recommend to table it if applicant, city, or attorney need time to present more information to make your decision. Next slide. So here's the objective of the plan development overlay. This was in section 154.06.423 in your zoning code. When we set, this is what I'm saying, it needs to be our objectives. When we set forth on the plan development overlay, we aim to provide flexible land development on problematic tracts of land where certain causative factors such as topography, iron, and the elements applicable in this case, irregular property boundaries, surrounding uses and zoning, and other similar aspects render them difficult to develop under established guidelines. But there I wrote in green, you as a commission must take care, care should be given to ensure that the development under this section does not negatively impact the health, safety, welfare, and the general public. Next slide. So this is Hampton Plan Development Overlay. This is where it is, everybody. Actually, draw the pointer. See if it works. So that's Troy O'Fallon Road. And this is Country Lane. And this is Hampton starting with lava cycles. That is the right side. This is the area this is the empty field we're talking about. Next slide. This is the trailway. There's about 9,000 cars a day on O'Fallon Road, adjacent to this proposed subdivision, and 1,500 on Country Lane. Next slide. And then so that you can see it from your screen, this is the field, and this is the house behind the field that we're talking about. Next slide. So, a little bit about the proposal, and then we'll turn it over to the petitioner's hearing study. The area is a 3.65 acre area. It was previously part of a future commercial proposal that was denied many years ago. And I was actually on the commission as chairman. That's how long ago. It's currently now planned for residential. So that's why the parcel is kind of weird and out there. It was set aside for a different use. It got denied, and the applicant is trying to use it now differently than what was proposed. We're going to use land development overlay. This development to be developed in the petitioner's manner without some design deviations that we don't talk about in here. The 10 single-family residential district is what you got planned with 1 detention pond line. The houses got 30-foot setbacks, 25-foot rear, and 10-foot on the side, and the lot is 50-foot wide. This is back here. It's this area is owned by R1, so it'll be right here, and the lasers right here. And this is a view of what development will look like. This is Town Road down here. I turned the page on everybody. This is Country Lane, where they put in the new turn lane. You'll go down, I think that number, maybe 150, 200 feet. Then there'll be a new cul-de-sac that comes in, and there'll be 10 lots along the backyard of the face of Country Lane. Detention pond lot is up here. Down one feet, the street, I don't think that's a correct 40 foot wide. The street is narrower than our 30-foot wide normal street, but you don't see parking on the north side. Because there's not houses on the north. That's one of the things they're going to ask for. I wanted to point that out. Why you can see. That's right. So what's proposed, again, in exchange for the design exceptions that can be discussed, the city has the 2 trees a lot, see that here, 2 trees a lot. They wanted to put someone on the front. Landscape green buffer between the detention pond and the road and the existing house. The sidewalk all the way along, and it's only on the one side, it's not on the east side. Because it's form lights, lights change what's in when it's subject to the currently, so we have consistency. And the smart side buildings with a higher quality exterior stuff. That was excellent. These things are the things that we're asking for.
We got him fixed.
In exchange for the design exceptions that they're going to ask for. Next slide.
Maybe to give you guys the last one.
These
Why don't you come
are the standards that they must meet in order to put plan development work.
You want to write a contract for me, sure.
It's a requirement. So, and the answers need to be yes, or it will be affirmative. They have to use permitted uses in the R1 district. The R1 district, R stands for residential and 1 stands for single family homes. These are all single family homes, so the answer is yes. The minimum district size needs to be 5 acres. This is adjacent, this is part of a huge R1 zoning district, so that means this district is well over 5 acres. They need to provide 10% green space. This, the actual lots these are on is 3.68 acres, I believe. They're providing 0.4. That's over 10%, so that's yes. may not increase the density by more than 10%. All the lots are within 10% of the underlying zoning district's requirement for a single-family lot of 11,000 square foot. I believe, and they can correct me when I speak, only one lot is underneath that amount and is well within 10%. Subdivision regulations and construction standards must be the same as what's in the underlying zoning district. All street thicknesses and other standards like sidewalk thicknesses and that are gonna be the same as what we do in any other subdivision. And then lastly, the catch-all, the city may propose additional requirements to avoid, minimize, and mitigate any potentially injurious effects to the neighborhood adjacent. The city is requiring in exchange for the variances, one of the variances is that the lots are a little narrower than what's usually required in the R1 district for requirements, landscape buffers, trees, and all those density bonus features in exchange for these variances. So, in a nutshell, this is the first time you've had a chance to review how the density bonus stuff that we put in play works. And in other words, we let what we wrote in them was to allow developers to do flexible designs in exchange for amenities that we desire to design, like the tree, like the lights, things like that. So I think they can speak to this. I thought it worked out really well. Really nice way to approach this. It wasn't just that they asked for variances, and we, there was a carry at the end of the snippet, and the variances were, they had to give things to get the variances, and that was good. That might be my last slide before I turn it over to the petitioner.
So now, if, is it you, Sean, who's going to be speaking? Yeah. Okay. All right, so we'll have the petitioner stand up and give his presentation.
My name is Sean Hartman with Hartman Home. This piece of ground has been sitting for several years. And, yep, there we go. So that's a slide there of the smart siding that we have to do on the buildings. But really, there's a demand right now in the building world for detached villas, smaller units that are on slabs, no basements. Doesn't necessarily have to be a 55 and older community, but the idea behind this was very similar to the development that you see. It's called Seasons Village, which is north of town a little bit. And anyways, just taking that motto and putting it on this ground, I thought was a good use of it. Better than the previously proposed commercial. But yeah, can answer any questions that anybody has. I think we were able to meet some of the city's demands and, some of the smart siding, trees, and just make it a beautiful development right on 12 Fountain Road.
You want to speak to I can speak to this. So we did have some conversations. Some of the residents called City Hall and they asked for additional tree screening on outside A, which is the detention pond one, between their houses, which are to the left. And the reason they wanted that was because that cul-de-sac lines up right with that outline. My headlights would be shining in their backyards. And Sean stepped up and zigzagging the trees and planting up pretty fence in there to help protect from that. And I believe that is exactly what the residents of property here requested, so they can speak for that during the public comment section if they want to speak to that.
Okay, so the development itself is pretty straightforward. There, you go down to the house plans, things go down a little bit. They're just detached villas, single slabs, nothing too crazy, but they fit nice on the lot. We were able to get 10 lots and it kind of fills that street in, meet the city restrictions, plenty of yard space. I know the backyard space tore up on the road, but, been on doing some nice landscaping to make it look nice. I drive down that road frequently. I built a lot in the area, Meadowbrook and all that, I'm very familiar with it.
Okay, Sean, so I think that what we'll do now is if anybody wishes to speak or ask you any questions regarding this, we'll give them the opportunity. So if anybody who wants to speak specifically about Hampton Glen, if they would like to come up and ask a question, please be sure that you've signed in first. Is there anybody in the audience who wants to speak? Okay, so if you'd like to come on down to the podium, did you already sign in?
Sure.
Okay, fantastic. Come on down. Before you begin to speak, sir, what we do whenever there's a member of the public who are about to speak, we have to say no, that we're going to tell the truth. So if you wouldn't mind raising your right hand, and do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Go ahead. Can you state yourself?
Represent my wife, Debbie. Her and I own the 2 lots that are located right behind or in front of the proposed thing. This is my daughter, Mandy. I represent her too. She owns the house next to her. My son and his wife, Caitlin and Justin Camillo, are out of town, but they asked me to represent them as well in our comments. So we purchased those lots about 13, 14 years ago. Mandy and Justin built homes on them, but my wife and I have just held on to our lots like an investment opportunity. So we're very concerned that the value of the property doesn't decline. And, that's our utmost thing. Number 2, I didn't hear anybody say exactly, it's hard to tell how far that road is set back from the top of the berm. We planted the trees and we put up that 5-foot fence. It said something in the paperwork I saw that the fence might be 6 feet. It's only 5, so I don't know if that means they're going to replace it or what their plan is for that.
Okay, let's address that to Sean then. Sean, do you know the answer to this gentleman's question?
Good evening. My name is Marcia Malvin. I'm with TWM. I'm the civil engineer that laid out the plan design. So as you can see, this gentleman here, if you look at the top of the page, there's an area where the property line comes down further toward Royal Family Road. So years ago, when they bought their properties, they also bought an additional strip along there, which is why he stated there's a fencing and some trees. So if you go to the next, or the one with the trees, previous one, scroll the other way. So the fencing is on their property, I believe. One more. And you can see the trees. So all those trees that are a little lighter shaded are the existing ones. So we are protecting those, and then we are filling in wherever any trees may have died over the years, or there is a lack of screening. So we are providing additional trees in there. I think it says 8 or 10 or something of that sort. And the whole layout of this is what we tried to do was to avoid putting any homes right behind their houses. The lot itself isn't wide enough to have homes on both sides of the street. So the reason we looked at this plan development was to narrow that street, provide that outlet along there, because that entire detention area and outlet is all green space. So there's another buffer between their backyard and the roadway. So the fencing will stay, I believe fencing is all on their property, and then we will fill in with trees to provide additional screening.
Thank you. While you're here, it shows there by the Locust property where you're gonna connect your 6-foot fence to our existing fence. And right now that would violate our HOA's policy. They don't let people hook on the fences. They would require a separate fence. There would be a gap then between our fence and that fence, which would allow egress onto the backyards of all those properties. So have you addressed that with our HOA?
We have not met with the HOA, but if that is something that we need to clear up, we would prefer that it be connected, just to keep people from going through people's yards. Sure. Nobody wants that. So, that is more of an improvement plan process. So if this board recommends approval and it does get approved by the city, then we will certainly work while we're doing the improvement plans to make sure connections and things are approved by the HOA and also by the city of Troy.
What is the distance between our fence and the road?
While they're looking that up, I wanted to clarify what we're approving here. This is a preliminary concept plan approval, so when they're talking about improvement plans, that's if they get approval tonight, the commission votes and then the council ratifies, they will have to do more detailed drawings and further work, and then I review that one more time as the city engineer. We exchange back and forth comments, they address them, and then it'll go to final plans. And then that's when the city council signs the plan. It's right there. That's the kind of result. There's another 2 steps beyond this.
And then the distance from what would be the right of way, which is the public roadway, to your property line would be 20 feet. But then there's another 6 to 8 feet from that right of way line to the actual pavement. So you're looking at about 26 to 28 feet from pavement to your yard.
That sounds better than what it is. I think we would all four be into the agreement that we would like to approve it with conditions. And then, our conditions would be that, number one, it says on there that they may not put a sidewalk over there or allow parking. I would hope that would be a guarantee that there would be no parking on the east side of that road along our property. Okay. And then number two, years ago, before we bought the lots, a real nice guy that sold them to us, Danny Bloomberg, told us that eventually that they hoped that there would be houses there rather than commercial property, which, we agree with that. We would rather have residential people there than a commercial. I think that'd be better for us. The only thing that we kind of object to a little bit is that the number of lots, 10, put up against ours, that's 10-to-4 ratio. We would be more agreeable if it was limited to maybe 5 lots, something like that. It seems like 10 properties kind of squeezed in there would not be good. It would be crowded. That's a lot of traffic up and down that road. So that's our other main concern. So we would be likely to say yes, or we would say yes if it was less than 10 properties. And if they agreed to not have parking on that side of the street and get an HOA approval to hook that fence to our fence. I think we would be okay.
Well, we appreciate you coming and giving your comments to the commission. We love public participation, so thank you so much.
Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, sir.
But as I clarified, we did ask for no parking.
You did? Okay, because I was going to say that could be in one of our
Because the road is there.
stipulations if you want to.
You did, right?
So if the commission decides that that's what they want to do, they can add that as a stipulation if you guys so choose. Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, I would also like to read into the record a letter of objection that we've received. As we like to do as a commission, we love to get feedback and understand what the public is thinking. So I'm going to read aloud a letter that has been sent to the Planning Commission. And it says, "Dear members of the Troy Planning Commission and Building and Zoning, I'm writing to express my opposition to the proposed development of Hampton Glen Villas. After careful consideration, I have significant concerns regarding the impact of this development that it may have on our community. While I understand the importance of growth and development within Troy, I have significant concerns that this proposal, as currently presented, is not in the best interest of the surrounding neighbourhood. Firstly, I believe that the proposed development could lead to increased traffic congestion in the area, which is already a concern for many citizens, like me, as I reside in Hampton Glen. The roads serving this area are already heavily utilised during peak morning and afternoon hours. The addition of multiple residential units will increase daily vehicle congestion and turning movements on the streets that are not yet designed to support higher density traffic volumes. This raises significant safety concerns for me and my school-aged children. The potential strain on local infrastructure and resources, such as schools, that I am concerned with, do not have a realistic ability to accommodate the concentrated growth. Additionally, the proposed villas appear inconsistent with the existing character, scale and density of the surrounding residential area that we have worked hard to establish and maintain. Moreover, I am worried about the environmental impact that this development may have, particularly regarding the preservation of green spaces and local wildlife habitats. It's crucial that we prioritise sustainable development practices to ensure the long-term well-being of our community and environment. I kindly request that you take these concerns into account when reviewing the proposal for Hampton Glen Villas. It is essential that we carefully consider the potential repercussions of this development and seek alternatives that better align with the needs and values of our community. Thank you for your time and attention to this matter and your dedication to serving our community. I look forward to your response and hope that our concerns will be addressed appropriately. I ask that this letter be entered into the public record. Best regards, Katie Astrakaus of 8409 Herrick Park Drive in Troy." Okay. Let's move on to the Planning Commission question and answers. Does anybody on the Planning Commission have any questions or concerns or comments that they'd like to share tonight?
I do. For Sean, is it feasible? What would you do if they could reduce the number of lots? Is that something you could consider doing? And what would be the possible lowest number of lots you would go to?
Just with the way the parcel laid out and the lots sitting in there, at that size that they do, really the feel that I'm trying to get, because it's going to be a maintenance-free living, and I challenge anybody to go out to Seasons Village and just see that community. That's what this is based off of. The lots aren't closer, but it's a clean, nice-looking community. Again, deciding that this is going to be even better, the landscaping, working with the city. I don't want it to feel like a regular subdivision. I want it to feel like a detached villa community where you're close to your neighbors. It's just a different feel. And to be frank, nowadays, with the way the expense works in a development, density helps things happen. It's just facts. Everything's expensive. So going in there with a regular R1, a 2,000 square foot home does not meet this. I followed the commercial when RLP tried to get it to go. Wasn't for it, but I feel like this fits that community. It's away from everybody, and I feel like you're going to see more of this in developments where you're going to have an outline of larger lots, and they're going to be surrounded by a community of people in the middle in its own HOA that's going to take care of their own thing. And again, it's to target maintenance-free living, a smaller, these are 2-car, they're not to address, her name was Katie. Katie, I don't think she's here, but okay. To address Katie, keeping the 2-car to a 2-car minimum. We have 3-car plans, but the idea is to keep the density down there. This was all at the same timeline when they started to put the turn lane in over there, and I think that helped alleviate. I'm very familiar with the area and the accidents that have happened, but I think that helped alleviate a lot of the, I don't have, my kids don't go at the bus stop there every day, but I don't think it's gonna be like putting 10 regular single family lots where you have a lot of people running around. That's not what I'm talking about.
Sean, would you just help,
Yeah.
it might be helpful for Rich or anybody else who's listening, to understand what maintenance-free living is and what is the appeal to certain people about that?
Well, 10, 15 years ago, it used to be, just to be honest with you, it was 60 and older, 55 and older. But nowadays, we're kind of seeing this shift where there's a younger generation that wants to simply live somewhere. And their landscaping, their gutters, the trees are maintained, everything's where they live. And that demand is increasing because the age is lower. But that's what maintenance-free living is. They'll still be responsible for their plumbing and things like that, but the overall outside experience is taken care of.
Does that include snow removal?
It depends on how the HOA, it depends basically, once everything gets set up, there will be a maintenance-free living, but then they'll have the option to do a snow package, if you will. The city's to maintain the actual street itself, but the driveways and things, that'll be kind of to the people in the development.
And my understanding of why you need them closer together when you're doing maintenance-free is because, generally speaking, you've contracted out someone to cut the grass and you want there to be as little interruption to be able to do that. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's something about a uniform, look, clean cut look community. Most of the areas I build in, actually, most people pride themselves on that. So, but yeah, it's to keep it nice looking. And from Troy Fountain, the grass will be cut like every week or 2 weeks, depending on what the weather. And, but yeah.
Do you want to add something?
Also wanted to make sure when you look at the layout, you'll see that this is what we call, the road is only loaded on one side. Because of the layout of the property, there was not enough distance from the east to the west to center of public road and then have lots on either side. So if you were to do this as a traditional subdivision, where you would have lots on both sides, you would have 10 lots. But in this case, we're only loading one side, but you're still putting in that same amount and length of roadway that you would have so you try to balance that. And that's a lot of why these planned developments come into play. A lot of these live to work type environment things that people have talked about for the last several years. It's to give more of that village feeling, that this in itself is a smaller kind of cottage feel and has more green space by clustering the houses a little bit more. And it works well because of the layout of this property and just the depth of it.
From the city standpoint, we require the road to be pushed up away from the intersection and out of the U-turn as well. If the road was pushed down towards the center of the lot, like the Marshall is saying, it would be in the turn lane, and that will not be safe.
Hey, Sean, what's the distance of house number 8 from Troy Fallen Road that I'm about to mention? And do you know what that dimension might be, ballpark?
Are you saying from Troy Fountain Road to the house?
Right.
It'll be,
That dotted line is 25 feet.
plus the yard itself, it'll probably be about 80 feet if I had to put it onto it.
There's several dash dot lines, which, you think 80 feet?
I'll show you. Yes, here's the point to Tom.
So
That's 25 feet from,
It's 25 feet from the right of way, but then the road itself is another probably, that looks like another 25 to 35 feet.
okay.
I'm gonna go over this 7 stuff. I want to make a point, we pushed the houses back. They actually asked for a 25-foot setback at first, and so I asked for 30, and the reason I asked for 30 is because I wanted the cars to fit in the driveway and not overhang sidewalk. If the commission disagrees with that, they can move the frontage closer to the I live in a green side at 25 cars over the sidewalk. And this kind of one about that, I don't think should happen.
Tom, a question for you. Hopefully we do this. On Troy Fallon Road, are there other houses within 70 feet of Troy Fallon Road in this area?
The other side of the street, and the metals up here, there are houses that are close.
Close to 70 feet.
Well, the area, I don't probably have an aerial even loaded up there. We just built the turn this year, so out there. There's something that goes up on the other side of the street.
Yes. Is there a plan for a fence between Troy Fallon Road and the lots?
No, we had discussed it, I guess, early on, but I guess you want to get a better visual. I don't know if we have any of the pictures that do you have any of those in for you of kind of the inspiration? But if you go further south on Troy Fallon Road, there's something called Brazewood. I think it's pronounced Brazewood, right? And it's more of a natural landscape setting. That's kind of what we're trying to achieve. Not a group. They did, yeah. But just using some of the trees that we talked about adding, that's been drawn in. It's more to achieve a natural, because I'm not a big fence guy. We know 5 years from now there's mold. And again, I know maintenance free, but they still deteriorate. It's not permanent. And it's really just to get more of a natural setting versus a fence. And I really don't want to block the houses. It's not really the goal. And I know you're going to see the back of them, but you see the back of them. Ironically, I built the majority of the houses that face Troy Fallon Road in the Meadowbrook subdivision, and they are very similar as far as distance goes. But those communities live there just fine.
Any other questions from the commission?
I do have one, sorry. Another dimensional question. How about the distance between the houses, the lots, I guess it's 1 through 7 that are pretty, the houses are kind of in a row. What kind of distance would you say that is?
The setbacks are 10 foot from each yard, so you're 20 feet apart.
Okay.
Which is what I believe the city allows in R1A.
Correct. We don't feel comfortable with less than environment.
Yeah.
That's kind of minimum.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, so it's time for the commission's deliberation on how we feel about this subdivision. What are your thoughts? How are you leaning it? And do you want to put any stipulations? What are your thoughts on this?
I think we should put no parking on one side.
Okay,
Also need to make the fence usually required.
okay.
For him.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. So do you want to make that as our stipulation then?
But yeah,
Okay, all right. So, okay, anybody else have any input or thoughts on this? Are we ready to make a proposal? So no parking on the east side and the fence follows Hampton Glen. Oh, what's the subdivision? It is Hampton Glen. Okay, so the fence follows the Hampton Glen HOA.
The planning commission recommends with the following stipulation of planned development for Hampton Glen Villas located at 1458 Charles Fallon Road, with the following stipulations. The fence meets the HOA requirements of Hampton Glen and no parking on the east side.
Okay, we'll take a vote on if you agree and approve for recommendations.
Vogt? Yes. Compton?
Yes?
Curtis?
Yes.
Weinberger? Yes. McBride?
Yes.
Meerman?
Yes.
Patton,
Yes.
Ryder.
Yes.
Okay. The motion is carried. As a reminder, we are a recommending body. This will now be sent as a recommendation to the City Council, who will be meeting, is it next Monday? Tuesday? Okay. Okay. Can I get a motion to adjourn this portion of the meeting? Thank you, Mike. Can I get a second? Thank you. Motion adjourned. Okay. So, if you'll just give us a moment to write up our paperwork and then we'll begin the regular portion of the planning meeting.
That's either.
Sorry, which one is, the main, one of the times adjustment?
This guy right here, he was 15. He was. Okay. But it's all. Oh. You were just.
Everyone else seemed fine.
Thanks, guys. There we go. Hey, add me to your list so we go to 3,000 maybe. I don't have to say anything.
Why not?
I didn't mean to. I just went down there too. Still there.
No. If they would.
The people in the audience cannot hear or understand what they're saying. The acoustics should not.
Yeah, so the majority of them I'm able to get really good. The main civil engineer we're working on, trying to make sure he's clear. He's got a really deep voice and it's really hard to EQ him out. And then.
But if the tables were full or it wouldn't help.
No, because we're getting all the acoustics for the sound from the microphones and the speakers up there. So,
How are you?
because they're so steady, unless they had.
I'm sorry I didn't get to hear you speak.
We're trying to make sure that they're not.
We're till 10, I really stopped.
So tired the next day. Me too, yeah. I hadn't even eaten supper yet, so
No,
yeah,
we
I
hadn't
just
either.
came straight from work, so yeah.
I hope I won't stay this late tonight.
And people are very respectful. There are not conversations going on around us. You know, but you just can't keep it.
Yeah. Trying to figure it out.
Okay, keep working on it.
Do you? Well, what about you? I'm just here around town. I have no care. You're here now. On an RV trip. Running in down council. Yeah, no, they went to the UR Arts and Crafts. San Diego, California. They're going to
Right,
Oh, they're a tourist as they shit up.
No, it's okay. Hey, it's a learning process. The sound is the one thing you really
I don't know.
do it.
So I have never been to New Orleans in my life.
It's okay. So,
Yeah.
don't remember that see trees. I just said this for a second issue.
Yeah. I'll pick nuts.
Huh?
They're nothing to you. They were working on the set while me and Scott were working. Yeah, Scott.
Yes, it's like to me, Jennifer's. It is how our generation, the names.
Yep. You think that's something that was impacted? Was Channel 15 used for a piano before?
And what, yeah, this is how they have sets of the.
Which is why the inputs are so weird. Say that we should but in different shape.
We told them.
Oh, that time passed.
Well, that's the problem. We don't have it. We had the Sam Schaefer who did it, who did like all 30 body mics and who did everything. And then he started charging like $3,000, you know what I mean, to do it or whatever, which is probably honestly what somebody who does a week of tech rehearsals and then 4 performances should get.
Yeah.
Then the schools kind of gave him the Heisman and said, you gotta go. You know what I mean? Like, we can't pay you, $3,000
But even this.
to do this.
MVP, you know.
All right, so really quick on a rundown. Game is how much space around higher game more sprinkling
Gotcha.
is going to pick up.
Okay.
So if they're talking right in the mic,
The game's gotcha.
yes. I think here
It was so.
I think like see I go up there in the list. That's a hot.
Okay.
When you think of low, you're thinking of like most men are in that low bit. Base is not like base. So they're taking them out and to do it, it's 3 parts. So how much gain, how much space. So I'm taking the space out. I'm going to justify.
And he's still, he graduated.
Frequency is how much in those.
Yes.
So each one of those lines is more. Kilohertz of this. What does that frequency sound? So I'm trying to get it so that at that sweet spot, a lot of that rolls out, but have a little bit of a high, and at least some normalization in there. We can also just take out
Hard. Well, now doing co-op.
hard. You see what that sounds like? So it's just understanding each person's voice and be very.
Okay, great.
So when they have shorter breast so understanding and hearing where is that sweet spot, focusing on that, and accent. So a lot of the instruments, you really don't have to do too much unless you're really wanting to bring more like drums will have their channels, but with the snare, you really want to have the snare. So you'll find where that frequency is, and there's a really good charts out there. So here's the frequency for air. Here's the frequency. There's a high sound. So it steams it out and it's all.
I mean, it's just
for bands or vocals, choruses, they have some additional effects. Doesn't look like they're running. So the plate is it's going to be like that. Echo chamber. Chorus just adds some nice, almost turning on. That's okay. We'll hear.
Yeah, so she was at home for summers and stuff. So she has
No, Amber's not back there.
yeah,
Still down here.
living her life in Ohio.
And to do it at that juncture. She didn't ask.
But it seems like you guys have.
Let's stay.
Let's follow the regular meeting. Everyone can take their seats, please.
I don't understand her writing. We have a headset rack outside. Connected to the
So we're ready to
and
begin.
32 channels in the back, and then but this thing will something for me too. So we got King Valley, and that's what I.
First, I'd like to open the meeting by saying how absolutely delighted we are to see you here this evening. Your voices help us to guide our recommendations, and we really love public participation. You see, our role as a planning commission is to gather information, ask important questions, get input from the public, and then formulate a recommendation for the City Council to vote on. We're a group of volunteers, all citizens of Troy, working hand in hand with the aldermen and women of the council, and as a group, we care passionately about our town. Now, if you've got an agenda in front of you, you'll see that the question of a data centre in Troy is not on the agenda. That's because we're still in the gathering stage. There is a portion set aside for public comment, and those who signed in may speak for 2 minutes each on a topic of their choosing. Because we'd like to go home at a reasonable time tonight, I will ask that if somebody has already made your point, please either make a different point or remain seated and allow someone else to speak. With all that said, I'd like to begin our regular meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, please be seated.
I'd like to make a motion to move public comment to the end of the meeting, please.
Can I get a second, please?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mike. All right. Andrea, can we get a call to order? I mean, a roll call, sorry.
Yellow, here. Liz Thompson.
Here.
Rich Curtis.
Here.
Rachel Lightheart. Here. McBride.
Here.
Mike Ehrman.
Here.
Eric Pack.
Here.
Matt Ryder.
Here.
Julie Stone is not listed.
Thank you, ma'am. All right. Have the commissioners had an opportunity to read the meeting minutes of January 8th? If you've had the opportunity, if you would like to make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of January 8th.
Thank you, Rich. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mike. All right. First up on the agenda is some new business. Oh, sorry. All in favour? Any opposed? Okay, thank you. All right. So we've got some new business on the agenda this evening. Martin Portable Buildings. Have you had an opportunity to look at your packets? All right. Tom, are you or Anne going to give us some more information on this? All right. Thank you, Tom.
This is in the on US 40 near the RV Hunter area, right near K9 Social. And I see that they're here. And I wanted to get the history because they have been, this is their second submittal on this. And the first submittal had the layout reversed as K9 Social will remember where we want the buildings and things, the permanent buildings to be along US 40, the parking to be along I forget the name, it's a commercial drive, it's a Plumber Drive thing. we want the parking areas like that along that. So, because we want the image when you're coming into town that you're seeing buildings and not parking, because that's the rest of the way that new commercial sports zoning area we did is going to look. So we wanted that consistency going down there. So when they submitted many, many, many months ago, it was the opposite way. And they have since changed engineers and come back with the sales building to be fronted along US 40 and the portable buildings to be along Plummer Drive. So I wanted to give that history. I have reviewed their plans and that, and they meet the city's codes. Portable buildings is allowed in the zoning district. That might be a question. Allowed by right. So we did the best we could with this use being allowed. Had the sales building be up on US 40 and the buildings that they're selling are going to be kind of into. It does meet all the ordinances. There's already a detention pond out there, so before we ask about drainage, it's already accounted for in the overall development. Just like it was for Canine Social, they don't have to build a detention pond. It all runs to that back there, in that back corner area. Your duty today is not to necessarily review or critique the site plan, because the planning commission's purview on a commercial development is to look at the building aesthetics. So that is what you are doing today, is reviewing the building aesthetics and voting on whether or not that fits.
Thank you, Tom. So my concerns with this, Tom, after, when I read the packet, is that we have worked so hard on the C5 area to make that very aesthetically pleasing in that particular area. And I don't feel like this meets that criteria. And in addition, I think, when Canine Social came before us, we came down pretty hard on them and said, hey, we've got a vision for this area, we want it to look, and they complied with the things that we asked them to do. I don't feel that these portable buildings are in keeping with that same look that we have tried to maintain. What are you guys' thoughts on this?
I agree with that. Those are my concerns.
I agree also.
Okay.
I agree with that also.
Okay. Matt?
I agree.
Okay. Sounds like we all have some deep concerns about how this would look aesthetically. So I will not be voting to recommend this as presented. If anybody would like to go ahead and make a proposal in favor of it, then go ahead and speak. Otherwise, I will be making a motion to deny and asking for a vote on that. Does anybody have any thoughts on this?
Make recommendations perhaps of a different lot location.
Yeah, please do. I think that's
Perhaps, over on the east side, maybe those lots would better fit this in the area.
Tom, do you know if the petitioner is here this evening?
I do not think they are, but they're not here.
They're not here.
She's shaking about her
Okay.
head. So I do know.
So
If they are, anybody here from Barton Buildings? And when she says for the crowd, and maybe for the commission.
I'm from Martin Building.
Okay. You do have the right to speak to this, so come to the point.
does he need to be sworn in, Tom, or no?
Not, yes, swear him in. While you're, go ahead and do that.
Okay, so if you'd raise your right hand, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. If you can get close to the mic so we can hear you, that'd be great.
When Danielle said maybe the East End lot, she's talking about these.
Or even the ones on the same side as RP Lumber. Go right more. More right. Those.
These,
Yeah.
okay. So one's more in the development side.
My only concern would be that, so we try to have our buildings where people can see them. And, the lot, we're already bought that lot, so selling the sheds at, they're at, right in, you know, it's right there by the RP lumber, which I think would fit in, well with that location.
So as far as you're concerned, that's the one you want to do this on and you don't?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And we tried to match our office to the P9 Social, so it would look the same. And, we keep our lot, it will be paved, a paved lot, paved surface, and, we try to keep our lots looking good and arrange where they, you know, where they will fit in.
But am I correct in saying that you would like the portable buildings to be seen from US 40? Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And I think that's where all of us have some concerns, is that we're trying to not have that kind of look when you're entering Troy. We're trying very hard to have a more permanent aesthetic and pleasing view as you're coming into Troy. What do you say?
Right.
Any other questions?
The first thing.
Go ahead, Elliot.
That's right. It's building, is it like portable buildings put together or?
The building office itself,
Yes,
it's just one unit and it's built on a concrete slab.
so it's a permanent structure.
It is a permanent structure.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I have any problem with the building or the way it looks. I think everybody's concern here is the actual portable building. And I think we need some more information to kind of understand that. Also, is the only operation you're going to have out of this location selling portable buildings? Or is it going to be multiple businesses?
No, it would just be selling portable.
Okay.
Where do you plan on parking the sheds? I guess, is there some way you can have them, well, you want them to be seen by people down the street, and what I hear is we don't have them seen, so we're kind of at this standoff here. Because we don't.
We had like a location that was on the site plan.
Does not appear the site plan is in there, but I have seen it and reviewed it. The permanent building goes along US 40, and then they had a horseshoe-shaped paved area south of that the buildings were going to be, portable buildings were going to be on south of the structure. So the permanent structure is along 40. It's not a big structure though, so it's not going to hide a bunch of stuff. So I don't know if you have the dimensions, but it's not a big building. But then there was pavement south. All the pavement was along. We tried to do, like I said, tried to direct it to the closest because we could keep the portable buildings along Plymouth Road. Because I knew that would be the planning commission's thoughts, wishes. So they did have the pavement horseshoe shaped south of the portable buildings sprinkled along. We did require local landscaping too, along 40. But, you know, I think he said already, he kind of wants them to be seen from 40, so. And that might be the opposite of what you want, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion to recommend the preliminary design concept for Martin Portable Buildings located at 7709 Plummer Business Drive.
Okay, and if we could get a roll call, please. Vogue? No.
Thomas,
No.
Curtis,
No.
Flybarger,
No.
McBride,
No.
Hammond,
No.
Patton,
No.
Ryder,
No.
Okay, the motion is recommended to be denied, but the final decision will be made with the city council at the next city council meeting. Moving on to the next piece of new business. Are we doing Hickory Street? No? Okay. Okay, so because we've moved the public comment to the end of the meeting, then we'll move on to old business then, if that's the case. Tom, I believe that you have some things for old business.
Yeah, thank you. It's Andrea for my presentation. So I kind of wanted to address the crowd and it's probably not presumptuous that many of you here for the data center. And I wanted to, I do follow the Troy Residents for Responsible Growth website or Facebook site. And what I want to say is please don't kick me off. I use it for following, understanding, and seeing what people are saying, and so that I can, it helps inform me on kind of what I can do to help with. So it helps me to understand kind of what, you know, I can present to help you guys understand what the steps of approval are. So I've heard a lot of talk about the zoning and all that. So I've got a thing here in old business to go through what the real approval process is on this to help with understanding, if that makes sense. So what I wanted to do, you've heard a lot of talk about zoning, and I want to make sure everybody knows what that is. Cities are divided into zones. In the 1960s, the state of Illinois gave cities the power to zone for planning purposes. And what we have is we have residential zones, we have commercial zones, we have industrial zones. As you've heard, a data center, if you've been to the meetings, is only allowed in an industrial zone. And particularly an industrial 2 zone, which is industrial 2 is we have industrial 1, we have industrial 2. Industrial 2 is a higher class zoning. Industrial 1 we call light zoning, or light industrial. Industrial 2 we call heavier zoning. So I'm going to use this pointer and go through our zoning map just to kind of show. This was the overall zoning map, and the colors represent the different zones in town. And rest assured, if I can't see all that, I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. That's what the red box is. You zoom in on the red box. Or hit the next one.
For you.
So that's zoomed in, and the original areas in green here that we'll talk about is now off the table, but I thought I'd show it. And there is no proposal or anything, but the area that everybody keeps talking about that Cloverleaf people might want to move to is this area. And I wanted to explain that the first area, this orange color, is a zone residential 1, which is single family home residence zone. That is no longer on the table for my understanding. The area here that has been talked about recently is white, which is no absence of color. What does that mean? It means it's not in the city limits. So this is not in the city. So what I wanted to start with is the process. So in order for data center, I wanted to say that data centers are carefully considered three-step approval process, and in this case, it's actually 4. So I have been reading from my following site that, people think things are already done. We still have four big steps if they were to even make a petition. So kind of. Step one, and I guess we'll use this area as as kind of the model, even though there's no proposal, just to walk through, if that makes sense. This area is not in the city, so step one is they have to, the property owner has to apply for annexation into the city. Annexation has to be approved by the city council. So there's a step there that they have to apply, as there has to be a hearing, and the city council has to approve for that property to come into the city. So that's step one, that is not happening. Step two is if it did come to the city, the next step would be, it would have to be rezoned. And it would have to be rezoned to I-2. Because that's the only district that a data center is allowed. When a property comes into the city, it automatically comes in as R1. So it's an automatic thing. When a property comes into the city, it comes in as residential, single-family home. And that's because that's the least intrusive or whatever zoning. In order to reconstruct itself, gotta talk louder, I guess. So if it comes into this, I said, first step, annexation, that requires the city council, vote. It requires the property owner to apply to come into the city and then the city council to ratify it. Second step would be, if it comes in automatically as residential zoning. So the next step is they have to apply for rezoning to industrial.
It's very blurry.
It's really loud in my ear, but it's not very good on your side.
Too close.
We do appreciate you explaining.
You won't jump up on the stick. Is this better? Do I need to start over? How many people think I need to start over? Okay, all the back. Sorry for you people in the front. I'll try to go through it a little faster this time, but still get the point across. So we're forced, I said we're, in this case, focused on this property because this one's now off the table. And there, again, if you couldn't hear me, there's been no application for this property. It's been talked about, so I'm using it as a model, okay? Just to go through the process. This area is not in the city because it's a white, the area, so some homes are up there are all the colored areas. That's what's in the city right now. This area is white, which means it's not even in the city right now. So step one, if anybody wants to build anything, no matter what it is on that property, and it has to be annexed into the city. And that requires a petition by the property owner to annex, and then it requires the city council to vote to approve annexation. So that's step one, and that has not happened. None of these steps have happened. So we're it's a long process to go yet if it happens, okay? And that's kind of the point I want to go through so that you guys see, all the steps that would have to happen. Step two would be, it has to be rezoned, because what I was saying that some of you could hear, when a property comes into the city, it automatically comes in as residential property, residential single-family homes property. And in order to build anything but that, you have to apply for rezoning. And what I said earlier was that the data center is only allowed in industrial 2 zoning. So a petitioner would have to come in and they would have to say, okay, I'm annexed in now. Now I would like to, apply for rezoning to industrial too. And that's another step. And that requires a public hearing. That requires the planning commission to recommend it. Then it requires the city council to approve it again. So that's 3 sub-steps within the, just that one step. So that would have to happen next. Then the thing that would have to happen after that would be this, you've heard a lot about the special use permit that a lot of people have been talking about. So a data center is only allowed by special use permit in an I-2 zoning district. So a little bit about that. Some uses are automatically allowed by right in a zoning district. Like canine social is automatically allowed in their district. They don't have to apply for a special use permit. It's considered like a use that makes sense in the area without special considerations. So they don't have to apply for a special use permit. But a data center, we specifically set up as a city an ordinance making a data center a special use permit. We did that on intentionally because as the city, if one were to come, we wanted more control over the things that were within the development, like the water usage. We want to require a closed loop system that doesn't pull water out of the water treatment plant to the levels you've seen. So that's just one example of something that we wanted control for. So we made it a special use. So that's the third step. They would have to apply they would have to reveal some more of the business, what's in the development, how it would operate, all that kind of stuff. They would have to talk about their setbacks. You've heard a lot about the 200-foot setback. That's way too close. I've heard a lot of people say, well, the special use permit in the city, and I'm just going to throw out a hypothetical number. The city could say 1,000 feet is what we're really going to allow to a resident. That's all allowed to be negotiated in a special use permit. So after the city would be done renegotiating all these things, then that special use permit would have to also be memorialized in a document that's all written out, a contract more or less. Then again, step 3 would require special use permit review by me, staff, other staff, planning commission approval, city council, then would have to vote to approve that as well. So that's step 3. And then if it got all the way to step 4, it would have to, that's when you go the next step as the data center developer and go through all those engineering plans and get everything drawn out, engineered to the finite detail. Staff would review that, and you heard we would also hire independent, we would hire consultants because I'm a civil engineer. I'm the city engineer. I review site plans. I am not, we all have our specialty as engineers, and my specialty is not power and data centers. It's all been it's all cutting edge ground for me too. I'm more than qualified to review the drainage, the site, site plan stuff itself, and I would review that part. But we would have to hire consultants to review the building and power and all that kind of stuff. So the city would do that kind of review on that 4th step. And that would be the back and forth, kind of like you saw in the first part here with the Hampton Glen people on a way smaller scale, right? I review, they address the comments. So then that would be what's called a plan development approval, just like they just did. So it's kind of great that they did a small version of that here for y'all to see. Because anytime there's multiple buildings on one property, that's you have to do a plan development review. So A plan development approval requires me reviewing the plans, our consultants, and again, planning commission would have to approve that, recommend that for approval, and then the city council would have to ratify that again. So I guess my point was to kind of pull back the curtain a little bit, show that a little bit, how that would work. And kind of, I'm trying to articulate that it's a long, long process to go. These people here on that was a 10-lot subdivision, and that was probably I think they left, but 6-month process. So, and we're talking about something way more involved than that. If you could show the next slide. When something's not in the city, you like, well, how do you determine what uses you want for things that are out of the city? We have another map, which is called the Future Land Use Map. And I'm going to zoom in on this. Next slide. This is that area. US Highway 40, Collinsville Road, Spring Valley. That's that area. So this planning commission works very hard. They're very dedicated individuals, and they love their city. And we put these maps together. It's like, this is what the planning commission wants for in this area for our community. We actually think about it ahead of time. Like we want this sort of thing in this area when it comes. It kind of gives us that, it gives us leverage, or gives us a framework for approval for when something's out of the city and it comes in as R1 again, right? And we have to rezone it to something else. This map is the one that says, hey, the planning commission wanted this area rezoned as this when it comes in. Orange is commercial, so I'm going to focus on this area again. Actually, I'll start up at the table now. That area was zoned as purple as commercial. Or not zoned. I didn't mean to confuse you. It's not zoned yet. When it gets rezoned, the planning commission thought it could be rezoned like this. Commercial and an office area. That's what these two colors mean. Commercial and office, okay? That area is off the table. We're down here with my example. It's commercial along US Highway 40 that there's a strip of commercial that we wanted along US Highway 40. This orange color is our new C4 zoning district. This brown color below that was medium density residential, is what the planning commission laid out for that area. And the area here that's beige, this lighter color brown, beige, is single family residential. So that's what's on our future land use map. So tells you there's some forethought that goes into this whole process with the planning commission. And again, they're a great group. Many have been on here numerous years, dedicating lots of time to kind of work through this out. So I kind of just wanted to go over that a little bit before the public comment part to kind of maybe everybody came out. I hope everybody got a little bit out of that and understands the approval process a little bit more.
Actually, that's not the right block.
Where are we at?
You're on Spring Valley, it's over on Formosa was the.
No, the last proposal that they've been talking about this whole area right here. Yeah. So I use this as a hypothetical, Danielle. This area over here has been talked about too, apparently is what I've heard. I can talk about this area too a little bit. But again, all this, I was just using an area as an example. But let's say things deviated a little bit over here, like your question. This pinkish peach color is industrial. So that area is the planning commission thought that would be a good, I heard somebody say at one of the meetings, make an industrial park. That's where this area right here, just south of RV Lumber, it is planned to be an industrial area. It is not 300 acres. So I just want everybody to realize, though we wanted this planning commission planned out a little more industrial down there, because that's what the lumberyard is. That fits in an industrial zone. It's that area. It's not a 300 acre area on paper. Below that, so we like this thing about transitioning from, we like to do buffer zones between industrial. So we did what we thought back then is to do a medium density residential area below the industrial and then go with more of the single family south of it. So kind of transition to less intensity, I guess you'd say, as you go away from that area. Thanks for the question. I know that area has been talked about a little bit. That does show that we did plan some industrial in that area too, which is important to say. And I'm sorry I went on a little long, but can you, the public part you wanted to do?
Okay, so hopefully Tom has given you some idea about the kind of things that we do here on the Planning Commission, the way that this, supposed data center, what they would have to do in order to make this all happen in Troy. Now, as you said, there's a whole bunch of steps before that would even happen. But what's most important to us is what do our citizens think about this? So we have tried to give you as many possibilities as you can to have your say, to be able to come out and say what you think about this. And so one of the things that I'm particularly excited about tonight is if you guys have some comments on this, we would like to hear what they are because we try to be your voice on the Planning Commission. So if anybody signed up to speak tonight, if you would please stand up because I'll have to swear you in as an oath if you plan on speaking this evening. And then, Tom, are you going to call the names of the people like you normally do? Do you want to do that? Okay. So if you plan on speaking this evening, could you please stand up right now, please, just in your spot? Thank you. Okay, and if you could just raise your right hand, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, Tom, if you want to call forward the names of the people who have signed in, and as I mentioned, we're going to do 2 minutes per person. We're going to try and wrap it up so that we're not all camping out tonight. Yes, sir. Then you can't. Only people who have signed in are allowed. Did you sign in?
Let him sign in.
Let him sign. I'll bring it down.
If you want to sign in, you can sign in. We just have to have the names of anybody who's wishing to speak. Did you stand up to swear in, sir? Okay, hold on one second. This gentleman, are you planning on speaking? Okay. Did you do swearing in? Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Just make sure that you've got your name signed up on it. Okay, fantastic. So hopefully we can hear your comments and take your feedback. And hopefully we're not camping out in crop beds at here tonight. That's the goal. We don't want to get home and have to do. Okay. 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 All righty, so what's going to happen is Tom is going to call your name. You're going to come down to the podium. You'll get 2 minutes to speak on a topic of your choice. Okay? Okay, Tom.
Keep up.
I'm not the greatest at pronunciation, so excuse me if I mess it up, but Matt Medenius, you're first.
That's not better.
Matt Medenius,
resident here in Troy, live in the Charleston subdivision off of Spring Valley. A lot of my neighbors are back here. Also, I'm on Canine Social, so appreciate all the free advertising today. Taking your word to me, you guys were tough on us, and that is exactly what you're supposed to do. We really appreciate it. As a resident, appreciate what your vision is of Troy and for Troy. And so we did appease this committee and do that. We're happy with that design. We also know other businesses and buildings around here. There's a manufacturing facility that Tom was pointing to right behind RP Lumber. That is probably one of the most attractive manufacturing facilities that's around. It's awesome, right? You guys mandating brick on the side of it. It's great. All the other developments in the city are great. So you guys are doing a great job. I understand back in the fall, sometime around October, some ordinances were presented to this committee around protecting the community from data centers. And so starting to establish some ordinances. As we and a bunch of other residents from the community have read those, they don't seem very restrictive to us. So I have in front of me some ordinances here, and I'll provide them to the commission. But they do establish a few things. I'll highlight just a couple because we only have a minute or two. But a mandatory public hearing that requires at least 60 days notice so the community can get his arms around what is being proposed. Significantly further setbacks. The residential setback of 200 feet, if that's there, is absolutely appalling, right? There's 300 homes there. If it's 200 feet from there, that's insane. It has to be much further. We're proposing 11,000 feet, which is close to 2 miles. 70 decibels adjacent to non-residential, a whopping 65 within residential. Again, at the projects, we're proposing 45. Okay. Construction limitations on time, duration, etc. The other thing that was failed to be included in the original ordinances is a decommissioning security. At some point, if these happen to go away, there's a significant 2 million square feet of buildings that will sit there that need to come down and be repurposed. We would request a decommissioning bond equal to 150% of the total removal costs to protect this community.
Okay, we're getting close.
And finally, enforcement penalties, $100,000 per day, a fine. That's absolutely nothing to an individual like $100 million last year. $100,000 is nothing. So the other thing we would ask for is if they do not comply, a mandatory shutdown until they're in compliance. Many others here, but the more restrictive. Yeah, appreciate what this commission does, and I hope you entertain these or something similar.
Thank you, that's very helpful. Okay, Tom, if you want to call the next person forward. Thank you, sir.
I can't read the next letter here, but is it Stephen A. Fowler? Sorry, sir.
That's it.
My name is Stephen Falvey, and I also want to take a look at the ordinance. I read it as part of due diligence. I'm not an advocate of the data center, but I did read it just to be informed. It was a quick read, about a page and a half, 2 pages. By comparison, the city of St. Louis just published theirs. It's in draft form. It's 24 pages. I can't help but believe that we've missed something. The other thing that they did, they're smart people in Troy, they're smart people in St. Louis. So they published this draft ordinance, and then they put a request for comments so that the people in the city of St. Louis could comment on that draft proposal, and they could change it if they felt. So it gave the people an input. So I would ask that we take a look at that ordinance, we reevaluate it, like I said, 2 pages versus 24, there's got to be gaps. There has to be. That's it.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, I did get on the Zoom call last night with the St. Louis County or St. Louis City ordinance and zoning and all that stuff. I'm just trying to get educated as much as I can. So I took my time last night for 2 to 3 hours around my family having dinner and just to get on a Zoom call, just to get more educated about everything that's going on. So we definitely hear me. And I do have the 24 pages of the ordinances that they're putting in St. Louis too. So.
There's a link to the document.
Yes. And I believe they're going to come out with a recording also of that. And I plan on giving it to everybody here also so we can get educated on that too.
Thank you, Shane.
Next up, Craig Hall.
Thanks, everyone. I think you guys are doing a pretty good job, with the exception of the special use we're talking about tonight. Most of the people two previous people have hit a lot of the stuff that I wanted to get to. But I also wanted to say, you guys were talking about the portable building company coming in. A little bit hypocritical to complain about something that is a massive investment of scale in your town.
How is it hypocritical when let me finish. We haven't approved anything for a data center.
I get that.
So there is no hypocritical. We haven't said yes to anything.
I get that. But
It's
just,
just all we've done is said no.
Getting the standard.
all right, moving on. They broke the train of thought, thanks. Power is a big problem with these. They're 500 megawatts, what they're wanting. The state of Illinois is in a serious deficiency on power. This area has went from a net exporter to a net importer of power, meaning we have to buy power to maintain what we have. I believe in the St. Louis Business Journal, there was an article in there about how Jay went with some other people over to see that facility in Nebraska. Ameren was quoted as saying that they are going to need 2 to 3 power generation plants for the proposed builds that are wanting to come into this area. That's going to have a massive effect on our power bills because they're not paying for that infrastructure. They're only paying for the infrastructure to get it from the substation to their building, which is why they like our site. They even said that Tuesday night because it's so close to that substation. And to me, that's a bit disingenuous on their part to be saying we're paying for the infrastructure when we're going to be left paying the bill to try and get new power generation. And so we're not importing.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate that. Thank you.
Carol Black.
Covered everything.
Okay. Thank you, Amy Santarelli.
Hi, our family moved here about 15 years ago when my husband was stationed at Scott Air Force Base. This is the longest we've lived anywhere. It's our home. We live on a country road off of Formosa and Loyette, so not too far back from Marky Lumber. We chose it not because it was an industrial area, but because it was a country area. So you wanted to gather some data. I used to live in Omaha near Offutt Air Force Base, near Papillion, where they went to look at the data center. And so I reached out through Facebook to some Papillion people and asked them what their experience has been. And it was interesting. I kind of came away with 2 different thoughts. Mostly, almost everybody said, it is so far out in the middle of nowhere, we never even see it. That is not the case with this proposed center. Secondly, there was one woman who lived nearby it. She reached out to me privately and we had a conversation. And this is what she said. I live down the road from the Papillion data centers. Construction period was bad. Our county road turned into a highway with the amount of speeding traffic going up and down the street, not only from workers, but the semis. The construction lights were the biggest problem for a solid year. We live on a hill, so they would shine right into our home every night and were left on from sundown to sunup. Even with the blinds closed and the curtains drawn, it was an issue. We contacted the city and Facebook, it's a Facebook data center, multiple times to see about moving them slightly. Then when we finally reached someone at the construction company, they basically laughed at us and moved them for a day before moving them back again. It was lit up like an airport tarmac for a solid year. I asked her how long the construction period lasted. She said, maybe like 3 years. It took a solid year to year and a half for them to get an enclosed structure to where they didn't need the construction lights so much. So here in Troy, Formosa Road is that north-south road, and it is a country road. We don't even have a line down the middle. We kind of have to lean to the side when another car comes. I just don't understand how that's going to look with that kind of construction, and how if we're going to have to go all the way around to get to our homes, because that's the main road. So I'm just wanting to share with you some of these things and what that looked like for that woman, how that could look for us, and asking you to vote against it. I think we can agree you can't make a data center aesthetically pleasing.
Thank you very much.
James Hicks.
Shouldn't have stood in the back, sorry.
Get steps in tonight.
Thank you, I appreciate the opportunity. I did speak with these fine ladies up here about my current situation. Full disclosure, I do not live in the city of Troy. I live in Collinsville Township. I have a child that graduated in 2022 from Triad. She is going to complete her degree at SIU this year. I have another child actively enrolled in Triad right now who's going to graduate in 2028, hopefully. It's good work, but anyways, nonetheless, the reason why I'm here is because the amount of concern I'm getting from my neighbors who feel hopeless because we don't have a vote in the matters of Troy. We're not asking for one. But you have to understand that we picked these locations because we wanted larger yards. We love this little area because you're only one way in, one way out. I live in the Wilson Heights neighborhood. You can look up my name, not real hard to find out where I live. I'm not trying to hide anything. I will tell you the last house on my street in September of 2025 sold for $363,000. These are not champions. We're not over there building mobile homes. We pay a lot of property tax to Triad, which is an excellent district with excellent opportunities for our kids. We picked this. We chose this. And we will continue to be part of this community. We're not asking for a vote, but we just want you to know that hopelessness doesn't help. People are panicking. They don't know what to do. If your house, your biggest investment of your life, loses value through no fault of your own, through no action of your own, and you have no ability to be a part of saying, please don't do this, what do you do?
Your voice matters. Thank you for letting us know.
Thank you very much.
Carla Cassell.
Oh, no.
Oh, there you go. I gotta get closer. Hi, Carla Gassel, Fawn Meadows, here with 4 other of my neighbors. Tom, thank you very much for taking the time to explain how zoning works. I really appreciate that. When you designed the pink and the purple area and then the pink is gonna be industrial, when was that developed? Your plan, like 5-10 years ago?
Started doing that in 2008. And we have been, the last update was last year.
Yeah, a year ago.
When we added the orange areas 1 year ago.
Okay, so I've got some questions from my fellow neighbors. What are the proposed locations in Troy for a data center? So I heard from you, Danielle, it was gonna be, well, it was gonna be north of 40, and then now it was gonna be more west, and then now it's coming more back to my neighborhood?
As far as I know, we haven't received a proposal. To the best of my knowledge, there hasn't been a proposal. This has all been speculated. The only one that I know that they were talking about was when Cloverleaf mentioned the one that was near Bethel Baptist Church. That's the only one that I was aware of. And then my understanding was that the City Council said you can take that off the table. We're not going to consider it. So to the best of my knowledge, anything else is just speculation, to the best of my knowledge.
They stated in the meeting on Tuesday that they're looking south of 40 now. So these areas you're talking about are for most of the Spring Valleys, the area that they said that they're looking into. We don't know what properties. I just threw up a hypothetical box to talk about it.
Okay.
We don't know exactly where right now, and we don't even know if they're gonna follow through on anything at this point. But that's the area they talked about, so I threw it up as an example.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to keep this 2 minutes. So when you planned this, that pink area to stay in industrial in 2008, isn't that your city goal?
We use this as a planning framework. It can't, these maps are kind of, we're looking out ahead, and looking at your best job, try to figure out everything. What this says in my mind is that we wanted some industrial south of
RP lumber.
It doesn't say, it hasn't stopped right here at this line or anything. It's you have to do some, you're looking into it. Nobody has time to ball and things like that. They're doing the best they can. They did desire some industrial. Now, it's up to them to decide if it ever came that whether it's can't get much bigger than that or not,
Does Troy have any I-2 next to residential?
Do we have the full
Can
map?
you go back 2 slides? There you go. The I-2 zoning areas are around dark brown. So you can see that area is where the concrete plant is all I-2. That's all R5 feet.
Yeah.
And then there's the area up at the top that's brown, at Long Interstate. You see it up there, very top. And the light blue areas are commercial areas, so that is up to unincorporated areas, the white areas out of the city limits, and the blue areas are commercial areas.
So it makes sense you want to go kind of I-2 to commercial, then potentially residential.
Right, exactly. We try to put those buffers in there to.
So if I'm hearing that, in the Fawn Meadow subdivision, we're all hoping you're not going to put I-2 right next to residential. That's all we're asking. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
See, I have a question for that lady that just talked. Somebody posted that Fawn Meadows, that they will receive their letters. What letters are we talking about and who did they come from?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Somebody posted on one of those Facebook sites.
We are supposed to get notification from Cloverleaf. The gentleman said that, Jeff Lake. We're supposed to get something in the mail. It even said that in the Belleville News Democrat, that they're going to follow up with us. But I don't know about any kind of letter.
But somebody posted on one of the Facebook things that they had received their letter, had a picture of the land and a circle around it, and they said they got their letter today. And I didn't know what letter. I mean, I know they have to notify residents within certain feet, of the development, but who sent that letter out, where did it come from? Did everybody in Fond Meadows get a letter?
No. There's some people with their hands up. With their hands up, if you want to just stand up and if you wanted to address them.
Yeah, so many of us got a flyer in our mailboxes with the outline, similar to what you show here, and some detail.
Did it come from Cloverleaf or somebody else?
It doesn't say who it came
Okay.
So it was just. That had no validity to it.
We don't know if there's validity to it.
Yeah, we heard people out there and said they got their letter. And insinuates that somebody in a formal position, company or whatever, sent something out, but it has no identification of who that was.
Point, sir. They're not the ones, I mean.
It's not official.
I was just wondering if that was, if you received it, was that an official letter?
No.
No, okay, that's my point.
It was like a flyer. It mentioned something about, since our mayor doesn't like Facebook, we're using this methodology to get information out. But we don't know where it came from.
Yeah, I was thinking that somebody's not like that. They just said that, like, we're never looking at what this thing is. All the time we talk about it. So, that's the information out there. Yeah, I received it twice.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you so much for clarifying that. Okay, who is the next person to speak?
John Cushman. Sorry.
Cushman, it's okay.
Hi, my name is John, and I appreciate you letting me speak tonight. I'm not a 30-year resident. I actually moved here last year after I served 22 years in the Air Force. And the reason I picked this area is because I was stationed here from 2009 to 2015, and I love this area. It's beautiful. I have friends that lived here, so it was a great place for me to bring my family after my retirement, and I love it here. So I really do appreciate what you all do, and I just want to say I work K9 Social. So, a lot of stuff that I was going to say has already been covered, so I just wanted to take the time to reiterate. I think the city should really consider the ramifications of trying to enforce rules, laws, and punitive actions against a potentially multi-billion-dollar company that would operate the data center. And that compromises that would have to be made to keep someone in the data center once they decide they don't want to participate with the agreements that were set forth initially anymore. Additionally, or finally, I think it's also important to remember that the company bringing this proposal to the city does not build the facility, nor does it operate it. They do not have a vested interest in continued support of the agreements after the fact. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Terry Ball.
Hello.
I did not come to talk tonight. Something that you said prompted me. I apologize. I have been a citizen of Troy for 37 years. I have taken part in local politics, not here, but not this commission, not what you folks do. I think what you do is great, and I like this whole process. My issue is that 2 nights ago, given that the city has been meeting with Cloverleaf and or with this commission for a year.
Not this commission.
Okay, the city has been meeting with Cloverleaf for a year, and then 2 nights ago, the Madison County chairman came to this meeting, not this meeting, but the meeting, to tell me that my taxes were going to be reduced by 39%. He came here to sell me something that the city is selling to me, which that 39% tax reduction, I think is a bold-faced lie. The state the state, the county, or the city can literally, with a swipe of a pen, say, oh, and you don't have to pay taxes. It's TIF or something like it. You don't have to pay taxes for the next 20 years. The citizen will absorb it. To say that that's not going to happen, I think is disingenuous at best. And I'm not saying you said that. But the step process that you described, and with all due respect, and I agree with everything you said, having been in local politics and elected politics here, everything you described, which is accurate, can and will happen in 2 weeks, maybe 4 at the outside, but it'll happen with 2 weeks, start to finish. It can, and it will. And literally the motion will get made. Annexing, rezoning, special use permit, and review plan development, that can all happen in 2 to 4 weeks, and it will, and it can. And I'm just saying that I've done it, we've done it, the city has done it, and to say that, well, it won't happen this time is disingenuous at best. That's all I have.
Just have all due respect, because we're very respectful, and I just want to make sure that we all leave here. Every public hearing needs 15 to 30 days posting, and there was 4 public hearings in the process I laid out. So unless they're all combined into one hearing, it can't happen that fast by law. But I have seen that annexation and zoning has been combined, but I have not seen the other 2 steps combined. And doing a $1.5 billion site plan review, I cannot do that in 2 weeks. Just being honest, unless I'm not doing it, which is I am not going to stand up here and say I'm not going to review those plans. That's not my job. I do my job. But I've reviewed nothing so far, and you have my word to stand up and say the oath. So I just want to let us, I understand your concern, and I just want the count point is nothing has been done so far. I've reviewed nothing. 15 to 30 day postings for every one of those public hearings. I have seen annexation and zoning combined, and I have not seen yours.
Okay. Next person.
This is the last person doing this. Dawn Lopez.
Hi, I am Dawn Lopez. I have lived here in Troy for 7 years, and my husband and I moved here for the school district, so we are very invested in this data center. I want to say quickly thank you to everyone up here and to the city council members. I know it's a thankless job. Sorry. I also want to say thank you for explaining that little civics lesson. I think that was very helpful. I am against this data center. I'm hoping from all the resident participation that everyone up here is taking that into consideration. I have no doubt that this commission meant well in even considering the data center. There's probably a lot that you all had to consider. However, once residents started speaking out, now is the time to listen. I have no issue with anyone up here saying what's being said online. I do find it disingenuous and hypocritical, though, when we are told tonight that the commission is open to hearing what we have to say, yet your own vice chair is commenting and pushing back negatively on Facebook without disclosing their position on this council. It's one thing to get a pulse of the conversation, but another to comment at all. We now understand that we can continue fighting this on any or all of the many steps it could take. I just hope it does not come to that. Listen to the people.
Okay. We really appreciate you taking your valuable time to come out this evening to talk to us. It's our job to listen to your voices and to have those voices guide us when we make those decisions. So thank you so much for taking your personal time to come out this evening. If I could get a motion to adjourn the meeting, I would appreciate it. Motion to adjourn. Can I get a second, please?
Second, that.
The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.